I say good morning. It's morning for me, but I recognize it's not morning for everybody. And as you can see by the title, that for this week, these 5 days, I want to talk about the inner critic. And I'll start by just doing a definition of the inner critic. And maybe I'll start by saying not everybody has this inner critic. So many people do, but not everybody does. So I don't want to, universalize it and feel like, oh, if you don't really know what I'm talking about, then you're not somehow with the program or something like this. No, no, no. Just some people have it and some people don't. And it's kind of like maybe we might even say like a sub personality inside of us, if I could use that type of a language, this way in which it's constantly putting us down and belittling us, and this voice of negativity that's blaming ourselves and nagging at us, and has this maybe a pervasive sense of shame for what we are, how we are, who we are, or maybe there's also a climate or an attitude of harshness, kind of creates this environment, this internal environment where we're really harsh with ourselves. And when this inner critic is up and running, there's a feeling of inadequacy, like somehow I'm just, who I am is not enough, or how I am is not enough, or somehow I'm not worthy, or in some kind of way, this feeling of inadequacy that can result from this inner critic. And wow, there's so much pain, so much dukkha associated with this structure, that this constellation, this dynamic that many people have. And so today I want to start with a guided meditation that's designed to kind of like disarm the inner critic. And part of how we're going to do this is maybe with a meditation that's not the usual meditation, partly because the usual meditation, probably the inner critic, if there is one, has already co-opted it and is already like, oh, you can't do this right, or it's hard for you and it's easy for everybody else, or you're not doing it good enough, or it's something like this. There's a way in which this might even be so familiar to us we don't even recognize it. So I want to introduce a meditation practice that can be incredibly powerful and transformative, and not in the way that we're expecting it. And maybe part of its power is because we're not expecting it. So I learned this meditation practice from Sharon Salzberg, and she said that she learned it from a 94-year-old Sri Lankan monk, 94 years old, who had an incredible amount of energy and was enormously happy. This sounds fantastic, right? Somebody who's 94 years old with lots of energy and happiness. This is what we all want for our lives, right? And this person did this meditation, which I like to share with you. And I want to say, maybe before we launch into this, maybe you're a little bit curious, like, okay, well, what is this, Diana? But before we launch into it, I want to say that it's an opportunity where we can put maybe this logical or this reasoning or this thinking mind. It can allow it to observe and be present, but maybe I kind of like maybe diminish or dampen some of the way it protests and criticizes. And so allow the thinking mind maybe to relax or soften here. Because if you were to think about it too much, you would think like, what? This is such a weird meditation. Why are we doing this? But don't, that's okay if that feeling comes up, but we'll just engage in this anyway. And why not just run a little experiment? Discover for yourself. Come and see. How is it for yourself to do this? So I feel like I have to, before I launch into this, I have to like put some I don't know, what's the word? I can't think of what the word is, but like this really long preface before really just jumping into this meditation. So with all those caveats before, let's start. Let's meditate. So taking a meditation posture, a posture that has some uprightness and some ease. And this uprightness can be literally or figuratively. I'm just taking a moment to feel into the bodily experience at this moment. Does it feel to be in this body at this time? Just in general. Can we allow however the body is to be how it is, because it is how it is. And I'm going to guide us some meditation, and you can repeat silently after me as I lead us in a type of body scan. A body scan that incorporates some well-wishing, some warmth. May the head be happy. May the head be peaceful. May my eyes be happy. May my eyes be peaceful. May the shoulders be happy. May the shoulders be peaceful. May the arms be happy. May the arms be peaceful. May the hands be happy. May the hands be peaceful. May the upper back be happy. May the upper back be peaceful. May the lower back be happy. May the lower back be peaceful. I'm using this expression, may the body part. as an invitation, maybe less a supplication and more an invitation for that body part to be happy without thinking about this too much. May the chest be happy. May the chest be peaceful. May the belly be happy. May the belly be peaceful. So it's a little bit less thinking and more well-wishing, warm-heartedness. May the hips be happy. May the hips be peaceful. May the legs be happy. May the legs be peaceful. May the feet be happy. May the feet be peaceful. Working our way back up. May the legs be happy. May the legs be peaceful. May the hips be happy. May the hips be peaceful. May the belly be happy. May the belly be peaceful. May the chest be happy. May the chest be peaceful. May the lower back be happy. May the lower back be peaceful. May the upper back be happy. May the upper back be peaceful. May the hands be happy. May the hands be peaceful. May the arms be happy. May the arms be peaceful. May the eyes be happy. May the eyes be peaceful. May the head be happy. May the head be peaceful. And then, is there any area of the body that could use some care, some goodwill, some warm-heartedness? And then to continue at your own pace, maybe modifying the words if you'd like, but keeping it very simple. To do a gentle body scan up and down the body with well-wishing warm-heartedness towards different parts of the body. Good morning. Good morning. Today we'll start this journey on looking at the inner critic. And in this guided meditation, I used a way in which we can maybe subvert the critic, because maybe it's such an integral part of our meditation practice. Like, oh, you're no longer on the object, you're lost in thought, or there could be this way in which these little pervasive thoughts just show up in our regular meditation. So I thought it'd be helpful to do a little bit of a different meditation that keeps the mind busy, gives it something to do, so this inner critic isn't busily chattering. And not only that, can provide a sense of spaciousness and warmth, which is what's needed if we're going to work with this inner critic. So again, I'll describe this inner critic a little bit as maybe it's something like a sub-personality inside of us, this way in which it's like constantly putting us down and belittling us. It's a voice of negativity that's blaming ourselves and nagging at us. And maybe it has a sense of shame for what we are or how we are or who we are, or maybe there isn't a sense of shame with it. Maybe it's just a bunch of criticizing. But one thing that this inner critic has is a sense of harshness. Like, it's not warm and friendly. It's a sense of, you're not good enough. You have to do more. There's this feeling of inadequacy, of I'm not enough. Who I am is not enough, or I'm not worthy. And maybe those words aren't so explicit, but it's this attitude that's often like just happening, kind of like as this running narrative in the back of the mind, or accompanying our daily life, whatever it is that we're doing. And wow, can be so much dukkha associated with this. And for some people, it's so prevalent and such an ongoing part of their inner world that it's even hard to imagine that it can't be there, or it's even hard to imagine that it can diminish, or maybe there's a way in which they have a certain loyalty to it and a real hesitation to even put it down or to look at it. And we can honor this and respect that. We're not trying to critique the critic. We're not trying to say like, oh, it shouldn't be there, right? That's just more of the same. But today I want to emphasize that it's understandable that people have this inner critic, this self-critic. I think I wouldn't be remiss in saying that it's a cultural phenomenon, something that we've learned, that we've conditioned from our family, from our education, from society, from culture. And I think it can be enormously helpful to not blame oneself that we have this inner dynamic, that we have this type of a tone in what's our inner life. And to be sure, some people feel like it's just them, that they are the only ones that have this inner critic. And when I just started to train to be a retreat teacher and to be a meditation teacher, and I was sitting in on practice discussions that other teachers were doing, this was quite a big revelation for me, was to recognize, oh, this is such a common theme when people come to talk about their practice with teachers. They don't use this language necessarily explicitly, but underneath is this sense of like, I'm not doing it right. There's something wrong with me. Everybody else seems to have it okay, but there's something that's inadequate with me. I have a problem. This is so prevalent. And we have this idea that we're unusual. We think that we're the only ones, that we're unusual to have this persuasive inner critic. And we mistakenly believe that we're the only ones that have this nagging, negative stories. But it's not true. It turns out that so many of us are walking around trying to convince everybody, like, okay, I got it together. I know what I'm doing. I'm not really messed up as sometimes I think that I am. Not everybody has that idea, but there's often this sense of like, okay, I got it together, when inside we don't feel like we have it together. And in fact, one of the most healing outcomes is when people realize, oh, they're not the only ones with this inner critic. In fact, it's so common. I don't want to say everybody has it, because not everybody has it, but it's so common. It is so common. And I think as part of the pandemic, we started to have more group practice discussions on these online retreats. And I heard and saw either explicit or kind of like, implicit people recognizing like, oh, other people have these thoughts too, when they started to hear what other people were saying in these practice discussions. And there's a certain amount of healing that happened, like, oh, I'm not the only one. And I can say it's important to know that we're not the only one, because, right, there's this way there can be the critic of the critic. This inner critic kind of co-ops even looking at the inner critic, and there's the inner critic of the inner critic, and then right there's the inner critic of the inner critic of the inner critic, and off it goes. But today I'd like to just mention or point to that we can let ourselves off the hook for the conditioning we received, for the conditioning we received, for the cultural conditioning, societal, biological, familial, like all the different forces that were present from when we were born until an adult, but certainly in our early years. Like, we didn't ask for this particular body shape, color, size. We didn't request this particular mind that has these habits that are unhelpful, these unhelpful patterns, or we didn't select from a catalog, okay, I like this emotional style and this way of thinking and this certain appearance and these challenges in our lives. None of us did that. We didn't ask for all these things that had such a giant impact on the way that we are as adults now. It's kind of this cultural conditions, just the things that formed and shaped who we are. So we don't have to blame ourselves for all these unhelpful patterns and idiosyncrasies and ways that we show up in the world. We don't have to blame ourselves. It's due to conditioning. With Buddhist teachings, we know that everything's due to conditioning, but so often there's a way in which we kind of not intentionally, but think like, oh yeah, there's all this conditioned stuff, but somehow I'm responsible for the way that I am. That's not conditioned, it's my fault. No, we have this conditioning, and it doesn't mean we don't have responsibility. We have responsibility for working with the cards that we were dealt. We didn't deal them to ourselves, but that's the hand that we got. And it's our responsibility to work with them. And this is part of where this meditation practice and Buddhist practice can help with, is help us to take responsibility and to recognize that change is possible. Of course it is. Like, otherwise we wouldn't have a meditation practice if we didn't think that it would be of any benefit and that anything could ever change. Of course we can. So we don't need to believe these thoughts of the inner critic. We don't need to give them the attention they're demanding. We don't need to hold them in really high authority and think that they're the truth, and all other data or experiences that we have somehow don't count because we have this inner critic. We think that must be the absolute truth. Instead, we can offer kindness to ourselves. We can offer warmth to ourselves. We can offer care to ourselves. And for some, this will be a radical idea, and for some, it will be a journey. It's not something that we're going to just, have this inner critic go away, but it starts with recognizing that it's here in a lawful way because there's this conditioning. And in fact, we could just notice how often there is this subtle message that comes from outside of us, comes from our environment, saying that, oh, we should be different somehow. And I'm not saying that we're absolutely perfect and we shouldn't change anything, but it can be enormously helpful to just notice how prevalent this message is. How many books are there trying to help us improve something? How many podcasts are there showing that you should improve something? How many conversations do we have in which one person is putting themselves down? How many movies are there? How many television programs? How many fictional stories include somebody who's putting themselves down, who thinks that they're not worthy or isn't good enough in some kind of way? It's so common. This idea, let alone talk about the whole advertising industry, that's its whole intention is to somehow give you a sense of inadequacy so that you feel like you need more, and of course whatever it is that they're trying to sell. So part of their whole message is the sense of inadequacy and lack. So I want to say there's nothing wrong with wanting to change. There's nothing wrong with wanting to improve. There's nothing wrong with saying, yeah, I have some unhelpful patterns. I have some unhelpful habits, which causes harm to myself and causes harm to others, and I'd like them to be different. That's healthy and perfectly normal. But what a difference it would be if we have this wanting to change that comes out of care and comes out of warmth. I care about myself. I care about others. Therefore, I strive or I endeavor or I have a wish to modify some of my behaviors because I care out of respect for myself and respect for others. As opposed to this loathsome, I loathe myself, therefore I better be different. Oh, it's so painful. It's so exhausting. So I don't want to say that we're absolutely perfect, but can we do this way of kind of encouraging ourselves to modify ourselves a little bit or change out of care and out of warmth, and not giving in to the inner critic that wants to convince us that all kinds of terrible things it wants to convince us. But one is that somehow we're inadequate and have to change. So 2 things I'd like to suggest for today. 1, just notice how prevalent this message is. I'm not good enough. That comes from outside, that we just hear from, our society in whatever ways, or family members, or books, or movies, or, any media that we are consuming. Just notice, like, oh yeah, wow, it's all over the place. And maybe we hadn't noticed it before because it's so normalized. So that's one. And the second thing that I'd encourage that you might like to explore and play around with today is when you notice the inner critic inside, like really ramping up and getting really loud that you can hear it, maybe you could just say, I'm doing the best I can right now. I'm doing the best I can right now. I'm doing the best I can right now. It doesn't mean that in the next moment you can do something different. And it doesn't mean in the previous moment you did something different. At this moment, right now, this precise moment, we're doing the best we can. And there's a way in which that can kind of like soften the inner critic. And as these days go along, as this weeks go on, I'll explore and share some different ideas that we can do. But maybe we'll start with this today. Otherwise, we'll really activate the critic, and that's not the direction we want to go. So this moment, I'm doing the best I can right now. And just notice how many messages there are about, you should be better. Ugh, it's awful. So I'll end there and wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day, or if it's evening for you, what portion of the day still remains for you tomorrow. And I'll be back here tomorrow and we'll talk about more about this inner critic. Thank you. It's nice to see the comments. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. It's so nice. I wish I had an April Fool's Day joke or something to think about, but I didn't. So there's not an April Fool's Day message here. Yes, I'm doing the best I can right now. Thank you all. It's so lovely to practice together. It's quite something, right? That's, after all these years, this song that comes together, it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing. Thank you. Thank you all.